welcome to another episode of Asexualized, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. So if you haven't already subscribed, please hit that great big subscribe button below right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live right now, post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you're finding the content useful, helpful, insightful in any way, shape or form. In a moment, I'm going to tell you what I've been up today. What I've been up to today. Why I've been naughty, writing the Asexual Guide to Sex book. But until then, if you don't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives, 47 asexual stories, love, life and sex, a celebration of asexual diversity book. This was the first book that came out from me about asexuality in 2017. And yes, it does have an introduction to asexuality and sex in this book. Also explains the difference between sexual desire, sexual arousal, sexual attraction, all that type of thing. So if you haven't already got a copy of that, I do recommend getting a copy of that. And then you can get the Asexual Guide to Sex when it comes out, because Asexual Guide to Sex is absolutely fantastic. So why have I been naughty today? Well, I wasn't supposed to be working on the Asexual Guide to Sex book today. So as I explained in my yesterday's video with the update, I have had people who have requested to be in this book almost a year later. And that's due to the fact that I've had other work going on. I've had to postpone working on finishing the Asexual Guide to Sex book. And like I said before, everything happens for a reason. I really, truly believe that. And so, I really, truly believe that. So basically, I'm so excited. So I have had people requesting to be in the book from Asexualitic, and obviously these are asexuals that have had sex before, because they're sharing their own personal experiences in order to help other asexuals who are thinking about sex for the first time, thinking or considering about having it, whether they actually should or not, so they can make an informed choice of decision. This is not to say asexuals should have sex. Asexuals who don't want sex should not have sex. No one should have sex if they don't want it, just to make that clear. But it's for the asexuals that are thinking about having, sex for the first time and considering whether or not they might like to try it, right? So it's very, very important for asexuals who specifically usually don't a lot of the time understand what to do in terms of sex and how that works mentally, emotionally, physically, that they have some sort of guide on it that's dedicated to them, that's made for them, which is what the Asexual Guide to Sex book is. Now, these interviewees that have requested to be in my book lately, because of the delayed work I've had, I've been able to incorporate more stories into the book than was originally going to be in the book. So I'm really, really, really happy. I had one late entry last month, and I've had 2 come back to me so far from the new people that are going to be in the book. And I wasn't supposed to work on them. I've said to the 12th because I've got a lot of work to do, but I happen to be going to the city today because I had a lot of stuff that I needed to get in the city, which I didn't realise that needed to do that much, and it took a lot more of my time than I expected. And by the time I got back, it was very, very late. I haven't even had an evening meal. All I've had is a late lunch, like at 7 or 8, I think it was. I have to have some food soon. I'm really hungry. And so I wasn't supposed to be working on the book. I specifically said, no, I won't work on it till the 12th of June. But the 2 people whose stories came back, already I just couldn't help myself, So the first story I've put into Google Drive, and I've already made some notes to talk to them about on the 12th. I'm not going to do working through the edits with them till the 12th. And the other person's, I noticed a few things in my mind about that one, so I need to actually work on the edits with them from the 12th. So I'm not actually going to be doing editing with the people until the 12th, because I have tight deadlines, like I said. But I'm just so excited for the book. And I have to say, writing is basically my sex, because the reason I say that is because I love writing so much. There's nothing that satisfies me more than writing. It's what I'm hugely passionate about, hugely enthusiastic about. It literally makes me feel so high, so excited, so thrilled. And that beats sex every single time. Like, I'm an asexual who had sex in the past, and it was no way exciting. Like writing a book is, right? Writing a book to me is just like music. and poetry, my soul. I absolutely love it. And what I love the most is that I'm working on this book for asexuals, that I'm actually trying to make a difference for asexuals. And I just love, love, love all the stories in it. I've just got a new story. Obviously, I can't give too much away, but I've got a new story that's come in that I've just sent them email back saying that I loved it. And this person, I will let you know, this particular, but there's all different types of asexual. So don't think every asexual in the book is someone who is in favour of sex or on the grey end or the sexual end of the spectrum. That's not true. Not all asexuals in the book identify that way. So I have to let you know, because obviously you might think asexual guy sex, oh, it's just the grey sexuals or the demisexuals that are going to be in this book, no one else. And that's not actually true. There are aromantics in the book as well, those who lack romantic attraction as well as sexual attraction, right? So I have to let you know there are different types of asexuals, but this particular person happens to be demisexual. And what I loved, well, not just demisexual, demisexual panromantic, so I'm going to tell you that much, but what I absolutely loved about their story was the way in which they described their demisexuality in terms of their sexual experiences, because there's a lot of stigma and a lot of like kind of like untrue things about demisexuality. You know, I run, as well as running the no sex dating group for asexuals only who never want sex, right? As well as running that, because I'm personally sex repulsed for me these days, but I've had sex in the past, I also run the grey asexual and demisexual dating group, right? And what I've learned from my time of being in that group and understanding is that, you know, demisexuals, they literally are not the same as heterosexuals or sexuals in general. You know, there's this big thing like, oh, well, you're just a sexual person because, you know, sexuals need a bond, you know, too, which a lot of sexuals do need a bond. But honestly, if you read this person's story that's going into the book, you will understand, have great insight, much, much more in an intelligent and experiential way of what it's like to be demisexual in terms of asexuality, being on the asexual spectrum, how they fit in, and how the experience of sex is different for them, you know, and how it's, you know, like it's really an emotional bond is really needed. They cannot do it without that. They're just the same as every other asexual in terms of feelings. If there's no bond there, they just don't want to have sex usually, right? And so this person really describes their demisexuality so well, and I'm so proud of them for the way they share their personal story, you know, which I'm not going to go into the details, but I just wanted to say that because I think there's a lot of stigma and a lot of like kind of like gripes sometimes within the asexual community about those that are fully asexual and those that are obviously not totally asexual, i.e. grey asexuals or demisexuals. But, you know, they don't fit, demisexuals don't fit into the normal sexual category unless they formed a deep emotional bond. Then they do feel pretty much experience a lot of stuff what heterosexuals experience. But if you read this person's story, I would say their experience as a demisexual is much more deeper than the average sexual person would usually be, because they need that deep emotional connection. So I kind of feel that having read their story that, you know, their feelings are asexual, you know, they don't experience any sexual attraction, they can't without the emotional bond. And then I feel that, you know, it's probably because they're demisexual, they experience sex in a much more deeper, meaningful, soulful way. So it's been really, really insightful, you know, really, really insightful. I'm glad I was naughty today and actually read a couple of these stories. The other story is very, very, very different to that one. And I was a little bit shocked in the beginning, I have to say. And but it's amazing. The person was very, very interesting, insightful, completely different story, but very, very good advice and very, very interesting, very interesting. So I think it's very, very important that people who are thinking about having sex for the first time, or even just trying some sexual acts without any sexual intercourse whatsoever, I think it's very important that people do get this book when it comes out. Because I think it can really prevent you from getting into a lot of sexual situations that are no good for you, and also that if you do get into some, how to be in those safer, you know. So I hope that's helped you and been a bit more insightful as well about demisexuality. I mean, they really do need a strong emotional bond. But I mean, if you have to say something about writing, I mean, writing is the hugest passion, love of my life. At all intents and purposes, I'm like married to my writing and my books, non-fiction books, even though I don't want to get married, because I just love it. Writing is so passionate, such a passion and excitement and thrilling thing for me, but helping asexuals the most, I will be writing more books for asexuals in the future. So I've got others planned, but this one I just feel is the cream of the crop, because it just really, really gives such deep, powerful insight into the way asexuals and people on the asexual spectrum feel about sex, think about sex, how it is for them from an experiential point of view. You get to experience and explore that with them in the comfort of your own home, reading the book or wherever you choose to read it, so it's just going to be marvelous. I can't wait to carry on working on it a lot more from the 12th onwards. I can't wait to sink my teeth into it, as it were, and yes, I've been a bit naughty, but look at the smile on my face from getting back to writing, which is my huge passion, my huge life purpose. My whole soul begs to write. I feel like my soul's bleeding when I don't write. It's really difficult for me because I like to be able to focus on things and give a lot of time and attention. Like I did an hour of intensive focus on one of those stories, like put in comments in Google Docs for me when I come to speak to them on with their edits, do the edits with them on the 12th, because I don't want to start that process now. But there's nothing better, no better feeling for me than writing. If you're asexual, I'd say, what is your sex? Do you have a thing that you say, this is my sex? Maybe it's eating a cream cake, or maybe it's watching Netflix and really chilling, this type of thing. What do you find that's just such an orgasmic, explosive experience, but not in a sexual way? Just when someone describes an orgasm, I don't have orgasms, so I don't really get why it's orgasmic or it's highly pleasurable and exciting. But for me, writing is highly pleasurable and exciting, and absolutely wonderful experience, and just to be helping asexuals more feels so great. And I just love writing books and asexuality, so it really is my most happiest time whenever I'm doing that. I just wish I could do it 24/7 365 days a year. That'd be great. Aspects of the future, aspirations I should say, for the future. But yeah, I really, really, really do appreciate everyone that's contributed to the book. I have to say that in the style of this Asexual Perspectives book, there are questions, right? And some people are like, oh, it's just a set of questions. It's not just a set of questions, right? In my Asexual Guide to Sex book, I'm asking the questions as well, but they're very, very strategic, long thought out questions that I specifically asked the interviewees, because that's all the questions I know there's someone who's never had sex before would have in their mind to ask, plus all the questions about asexuality and how it affects them as an asexual, how they should prepare for it as an asexual. So the questions aren't just any questions I plucked out. They're not a survey. They're backwards and forwards emails, editing backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. One person I did an interview with, I Skyped them for, I think it was about 5 hours, So they're really in-depth questions that are designed to bring the story out of each asexual person, whilst also giving information, advice and guidance on how to have sex if you're asexual. So it's really useful and helpful and insightful. And the fact that every story is different, they've been asked, there's two different parts to the book. Well, there's a number of different parts of the book, but there's 2 different parts to do the stories. One's less, small story, less information, advice and help, and the other one is stories but a lot more information, advice and help. So it's very interesting to see the difference in that. But yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to getting the book out and raising more awareness of asexuality. We really, really need it, especially in regards to sex. I get so fed up with people who don't understand asexuality and don't understand what it truly means to be asexual. It's not abstaining. We're not forcing ourselves to not have sex, right? It's not celibacy. We're not waiting for marriage. We're not trying to be something we're not. We're not trying to stop ourselves from having sex. That's a completely different thing. That's not asexuality. If you're stopping yourself from having sex, you're not asexual. Just because you're stopping yourself from having sex, you're holding yourself back. Asexuals don't do that. We just don't get the need, urge, or want for it usually in the first place. There's no holding back with us. There's no denying ourselves. There's no restricting ourselves or changing our habits to make sure we don't do that, right? It's not the same. Just like anti-sexuality is not the same as an anti-sexual is not the same as being asexual. Anti-sexual is when you're against sexual things and against sexuality. And if anti-sexual is being anti against sexual stuff, all sexual stuff, anti-sexuality is being against basically sexuality in and of itself, which encompasses loads of different sexualities, you know. So that's not the same as being asexual. Asexual is literally when you don't get a natural need, urge, or want for partner sexual intercourse. You just don't get that, you know. That's basically, in a nutshell, in broad terms, what asexuality is, right? So please don't confuse them, because it's not the same thing. Obviously, there are a very few asexuals that happen to be anti-sexual as well, but you have to understand it's not the same thing. And sexual behavior is not the same as sexual attraction. So some asexuals might have sexual behavior. Some asexuals will or do have sex. Others don't. So you have to understand we're all different. That's why on this channel I do actually do videos all across the asexual spectrum, because I think it's important for me to give a voice to different people, and also for asexuals to have a voice in terms of the whole asexuality spectrum. It's very, very important. I know a lot of people are waiting for this book to come out. So once I've got this other work finished that I need to get done this month. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up. Really appreciate it. I love you. Once I've got the work I need to get done this month, and I'll be full steam ahead with the book. But even on the 12th, when I'm editing with the interviewees, I'll probably still have some other work that I need to finish off as well. So I was in the middle of a course. I'm still got 1 3/4 videos to finish watching of a course I'm doing, but I have to leave that for the moment because I've got a tight deadline for the 9th for some work I have to get done for someone else. Well, I can't get out of it. It's to do with legal business stuff, so I've got to do that. So I just wanted to let you know and give you an update on the writing, and say, yeah, writing is basically like my sex, because it's so exciting, so thrilling, so awesome. The difference is, I think a major difference is between writing and sex only lasts for a few minutes usually, especially if the person's not very good at it, whereas writing books lasts for a complete lifetime, you know. Once this book is written, hi Eddie, lots of love. Once this book is written, then obviously the impact this book has will last a lifetime. Just imagine all the families of asexuals that will help those asexuals who are actually willing to put the book in front of their family. Asexual Guide to Sex, maybe just give them an anonymous book for Christmas, and don't say who gave it to them if you're not out about being asexual, you know. Allies, parents, friends of asexuals, partners of asexuals. So Eddie's going to love this book, The Asexual Guide to Sex. It'll be so insightful, I tell you. It'll be the most insightful book ever written on asexuality and the topic of sex. It just really will. You know, I'm so happy for it, you know. And I can't help but being naughty and writing, you know, like reading it and starting to make notes of editing before. So better be. Of course it will be Eddie. I'm a pro, obviously, but it's not just about me. Lots of different asexuals have written the book with me. We've been like one person was working on their story with me for about 5 months. The other person over 6 months, you know. Or I am on your doorstep for a refund. Oh, well, you just ask Amazon for a refund. They refund you. If anyone's not happy with their books, they just get a refund from Amazon. Not from me, because it's Amazon where you'll get it from. So, or if there's other bookstores, but they'll be more expensive than Amazon, because other bookstores get my books to sell to people, and other books, you know. So Amazon will be the least expensive. But yeah, you don't come to me, you come to them. Like I said that with my fibro book as well. If you didn't know what I'm talking about with my fibro book, because I didn't mention it earlier, it's this one, Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook. So if you don't get any value out of it or learn anything from it, yeah, Amazon, you know, you can return books to Amazon. I don't know if you knew that. Kindle books, printed books. I mean, I buy books. I've got loads of books to read, but I've never returned one, because I think I always learn something from every single book I've ever read. Do you know what I mean? Every single book I've ever read, you know, in some books I have yet to read that I still haven't read, but one day I'll get around to reading them. And the important thing is I have them in my arsenal of skills for life, you know. That's a good thing about about non-fiction books. I'm an audiobook fan. Oh, I don't do my books in audiobook. It takes way too long. Like my Asexual Perspectives book, it's like 500 and something pages. Just imagine if I did that, it would take me absolutely hours. I personally don't listen to audiobooks either. I personally don't. So, and I don't make shed loads of money out these books to pay someone to do an audiobook for me. And besides, if I was going to do it, I prefer to do it myself in my own voice, seeing as I was all through, originally wrote the book. But do you know what I mean? So, the books, any money I make from the books usually goes back into my websites for Asexual. You know what I mean? I'm not making shed loads of money from books. Like, it pays for my insurance because I have to. I'm actually insured, unlike a lot of people that are self-employed that don't tend to insure their business. I'm insured as a writer. I'm insured for my books. I'm insured for my books and my courses. So I pay insurance every month for that. So a large proportion of my book, the payments I get for my books, a large proportion, usually about half nearly, goes towards insurance, which protects me, and and courses I'm insured for, coaching I'm insured for, building someone's blog or website I'm insured for a lot of stuff, put it that way. So yeah, so a lot of the money, and then obviously I've got to pay for my asexual websites, internet. I had to up my internet a few years ago with all the work I do online constantly to get more unlimited internet. And it's fiber optic as well, so it's better because at one point I couldn't even use the internet; it kept going off. So yeah, so there's a lot of costs. So I don't, like if you do refund the book, then it's not really helping asexuals out, but it's helping asexuals out far more if you keep the book. But there's no reason why you'd want to refund it anyway. It's awesome. All my books are really good because they're insightful, and they're not someone who's just got someone to write them for them. 150 Twitter accounts and 56 websites. Is that what you're trying to say about me, Eddie? I currently have. I've cut down my websites. Twitter accounts, I don't have 150, more like 15, maybe more than 15 actually. But some of my Facebook pages I'm cutting down on. I'm cutting them out because I want to focus more on the brands. Obviously Asexuals I'm going to keep, and Fibro Girl, Ace Fibro Girl, I'm keeping that page and site. But there's some websites I'm getting rid of to bring new brands out, but also to narrow down all my niches. Asexuality, I've been helping for Asexuals for 5 years now, 2015, well 4.5 because it's October 2015, so I'm going to be keeping doing that forever and a day as far as I know. And but yeah, domains are well, you've got hosting and then you've got domains, which are nearly 20 quid a domain now because they go up every year. But then you've got hosting as well, which is and then internet. It's just a lot of money overall. So most of the money I earned just goes back into so at the moment, the money I'm getting, I'm saving up because I've got to pay for my Asexual Guide to Sex, the printed version cover. I always have to pay someone to do my printed version of my cover, so I usually design the cover in ebook format and then get them to do it in printed because I can't do the printed one. I'm not as skilled in that, and the person that does it's really good. They just do replicas of my work but in the dimensions I need. But the cover for Asexual Guide to Sex, I'm still in creative thought about. I haven't totally decided on that yet. I've got ideas, but I'm just thinking how it's going to be because it's going to be different to the other book, very different to a lot of the covers I've done before. So I want it to have a certain feel about it. So yeah, so my money I'm saving up at the moment to do cover, and I need someone to do the type. I have to pay someone to do the typesetting of the printed version. So I do all the ebooks myself because I know how to format them. I've learned all that. But the actual printed one, the typesetting, like last time, it took someone 3 weeks to do a 2-day job on my my Fibro book. Because if it's not to my liking or how I want the style to look, well, I'm often more experienced in the style than, you know, like in editing myself and getting the style right and things. And I notice a lot of mistakes, so I have to make sure that it's all good and above board. So I like edit the type typesetters work usually. Was talking Sunday about your spooning vid with my girlfriend. Oh right, I'm glad that you talked about that. So yes, I'm glad Eddie's in chat. Yeah, so Eddie was talking about my spooning video now, so we're moving slightly on from the Asexual Guide to Sex book. But yeah, I think your girlfriend will love the Asexual Guide to Sex book as well. And then so yeah, so spooning. I did a video about spooning the other day because spooning to asexuals usually means something very different to what spooning to sexuals means, you know, which is why I was quite shocked. So I went on ace-book.net a while ago, and I just kept seeing people put in their profile, I'm a spooner, I love spooning. And I was thinking, I'm sure that's a sexual term. I have never heard it in other ways. And so then when I was asking around, they're like, oh yeah, spooning is where the, well, even more recently as well, I asked my best friend about that. And in terms of, because I'd seen it on asexual sites and I came up in conversation, I was thinking about doing a video as well. And so, yeah, so they were on about, oh, it's where the person who's, you know, you cuddling like a spoon shape in bed. So the one person goes on the outside's a big spoon, the one inside's a little spoon. But yes, spooning in sexual terms means a guy who's literally having sex from a woman, you know, basically cuddling a woman in bed, but having intercourse with her. So sticking his bit in her bit from behind. There's two completely different meanings. So when asexuals say I'm a spooner or spooning, you should be very careful, and you definitely shouldn't be saying that on dating sites that are not solely and meant to be solely for asexuals. Because if you start writing on Plenty of Fish, for example, or other traditional dating sites, that you're asexual but you like spooning, someone will automatically think, yeah, you love having sex from behind. That's what it means, right? So please do not get that confused. Spooning has two different meanings. Usually to asexuals, it means it's just cuddling, one in front of, you know, one person in front of the other, you know, the other coming up behind cuddling them. In sexuals, it means they're having intercourse from behind, the guy usually with the girl. Eddie, I said I may need to have a pillow cover. I said I may need to have a pillow cover a certain location on me just in case my timer pops up. I think that's very tactful language, Eddie. Oh, hi, Ahmed. Yeah, so my drive is high, but I don't know now since it's been a while. Well, I think if you're with someone who's less sexual, much less sexual, Eddie, because Eddie, for anyone who's just joined chat, and this thing, then, you know, I'm asexual. I lack sexual attraction, so I don't have sex. Don't have a need for it, want it, like it, not interested in it, although I had it in the past. In regards to Eddie, Eddie is not asexual, but Eddie is with an asexual girlfriend. So they've been together for a couple of years, more than a couple of years, 2.5, I think it is now, and they don't have sex. But Eddie's not asexual. So that's how the conversation is going in chat for anyone who's just joined us and doesn't know what I'm talking about. So yeah, so I think if a sexual person, someone who's not asexual, is with an asexual person who's not very sexual in behavior, who doesn't really do much touching or much feeling or much physical stuff, particularly, I think it's easier probably for the sexual person to not be so turned on because there isn't much to turn them on. Do you know what I mean? But I think if the person is like me, who lacks sexual attraction, I'm not interested in having sex, I'm nudity to repulse, so I don't take my clothes off, but I have some very sexual behavior with the way I like to kiss and sensual touching, that type of thing. And I think definitely sexuals would find it very, very hard not to get an erection if they were with me and not to get turned on, because that's basically what happens all the time. I don't mind a guy doing that as long as he doesn't expect to have sex with me or do anything like that to me, because I'm not interested. Eddie, the old joke being, come sit on my lap and we can talk about the first thing that the old joke being, come sit on my lap and we can talk about the first thing that pops up. Bad joke. I'm working on my responses to physical interactions. Well, actually, you see, if I'm in a relationship, I don't mind sitting on a guy's lap, or even him sitting in between my legs. This is why I'm definitely asexual, don't have any sexual attraction, but I have sexual behavior some of the time. So that's why it's very, very difficult for me to find a relationship, because I hate sex, not interested in it. There was a question that someone's retract about threesome, and as you probably tell, I'm not interested in sex. I definitely would not have a threesome. It's disgusting to me. I do not have a polyamorous relationship or any polyamorous stuff going on in the past, or any threesomes or foursomes. You know, whenever I had sex in the past, it was with one partner in a serious committed relationship, and I don't have that anymore. I have been sex free now since 2011. I'm blooming glad. Yes, I love it. Thank God. No sex for 9 years. It's a miracle. It's amazing. And I love it so much. Yeah, baby. It's awesome. So I just thought I'd let everyone know that. I don't have sex anymore. I had it in the past, and that's gone. And I prefer my life this way. Yeah. So yeah, I think it depends on the person you're with, what they're doing to you, how they're making you feel, how they're touching you, that type of thing, you know. So it depends, because I don't know how. I think your girlfriend's aromantic, or on the aromantic spectrum, isn't she? So I think she's less likely to be sexual behavior like I am. Yeah, so I would have thought, Eddie, it depends if you want to try stuff together and what you want to do. Obviously, I don't want to get personal. If she's sensual rather than sexual, obviously if she's touching you sensually without wanting sex, but she likes the sensation of touch, which some asexuals do, then that would probably you know, like, cause you to be aroused. I am sex free since 2012. Oh, mine was 2011. So you're doing really well, Eddie. You're just behind me. We'll have a no sex competition. I think that sounds great. Let's have a no sex competition. I mean, obviously, I'm going to be forever no sex. As far as I know, I'm not ever going to have a sex again in my life. So, but yeah, well, yeah, I think that's great though, isn't it? Just imagine everyone has sex competitions and we can have no sex competitions. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are asexual that, well, there is my best asexual friend. They've never had sex. So you win. Yeah, I do win, because I've always had sex a long time ago before you. Well, a year. Mine was October 2011. I don't know the actual day, thank goodness. I was bad enough. No, yeah, October 2011. Well, yeah, October 2011. That was the last time. Yeah. But I don't actually know what day or date specifically. So you went, yeah. But obviously there's lots of asexuals that are virgins and never had sex before. But I just think it's something different, isn't it? Have a no sex competition. How many sexuals could go without sex for a while? Some of them can, as you know, you can. And some of them do anyway, because they abstain for whatever reason. So, but it's not the same as being asexual, obviously. But yeah, so I think that in terms of like you know, like in my Asexual Guide to Sex book, it talks about, you know, the acts of sex, what asexuals may want to do if they're thinking about having sex for the first time. It talks about being mentally, physically, and emotionally prepared for sex. Should asexuals wish to try it at all? There's like, I'm purposely leaving my part of the book and story till the last thing that I write or fully write, because I want all the stories in first, and then for me to be able to say my story but also add more to the book. I'm going to be doing quite a lot of stuff to do with safety in my part of the book, and also, you know, if there's stuff that I feel needs to be added to the book that I don't think's been explored enough, or maybe not explored at all, then I'll be adding that. to the book as well. But I mean, obviously the interviewees have done such a good job. They've all got different stories to tell, and all of the questions are answered like in their own words as much as possible. We've edited it together, so it's still their own words, but it's edited backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. A lot of the stories for a long period of time. A lot of them. Some of them didn't need so much editing, but there's some that needed really a lot of in-depth editing. So we can really get the reader to experience what the person who's asexual's been through, and can really have the the complete insight into the different feeling. I mean, it is honestly a different feeling for asexual sex. I mean, when you read the book, you'll see how insightful and different it is. It's like going into a whole nother world that sexuals just can't fathom a lot of the time. Because obviously I've been in heterosexual relationships for half my life, so I know that asexuals and sexuals need kind of bridges, the gap's bridged. That's what I'm trying to say. So I know sexuals need to understand asexuals more, and asexuals can't really fathom why asexuals have never had the need, urge, or want for sex. They think it's natural to have that and that everyone should have it, and there's something wrong if they don't. But this book really does show that sexual attraction is not something everyone gets. Especially the majority of asexuals don't experience sexual attraction. Yes, the ones on the grey end of the spectrum do sometimes, occasionally, or under certain circumstances, or when an emotional bond's formed. That's true, but not always. So there's so much insight in this book, because you get fed up as an asexual, people not taking us seriously, people not understanding, people can't comprehend in their mind. That's what I think is different about this book, is when you read The Asexual Guide to Sex, it's like a very experiential experience. Like you're experiencing their story with them. Like it's like your mind gets taken to their personal story, their circumstance, and how they were feeling and thinking and stuff like that. So I think it's just so incredibly insightful, and you just feel like whatever story I personally read, I feel like I'm there with the person. Like I'm in their mind, like I'm experiencing what they've experienced and gone through in their life. And you kind of feel like liberated each time, like there's something new you learn, or some new insight and some new feeling comes up. That's how I feel. But I'm very, very passionate about what I do. I'm very passionate about writing, as you can tell. Like writing is my sex. I'm very passionate about, like asexuality. I'm very passionate about asexuality topic, but I just think after this book comes out, no one in their right mind, unless they've completely not read the book and not gone through all the different stories and just like ignored the book, I think anyone who reads it will actually understand now how different the mind works of an asexual person, how the feelings work, how we don't naturally have that need, urge, or want for sex. It's just not in us. It's not something, it doesn't matter how much sex we actually have. If we want to try it and have it, it's never going to change us, because it just doesn't feel like that to us. So I think it's very, very important. The book does come out, and I think it's very important for all the people that are in it. Some of these people have had to go through experiences again in their minds of what they went through years ago, some of which is not pleasant for them. Some, I'm not saying all stories are like that, but it's to help other asexuals, and I'm so proud of them, because I know some people have found it tough on some of the, like they want to do it, but they found it tough because and others have found it very therapeutic. Others have found it thought-provoking, the process of doing this. So it's been an incredible experience so far, and I'm looking forward to finishing the book and getting the final stories worked on and finished. And I just couldn't be happier. When this book comes out, it'll just make me so happy in my life, because I know that any person who reads it will never be able to say ever again that everyone experiences sexual attraction, and because they will see categorically, evidentially, that is simply not true. It's not the case. And so, it completely dispels all these myths and stereotypes and the sexationalized sex, in the world that we have, as well as sensationalized sex, it just completely debunks that. dismisses it and like really in a effective, informative, educational, experiential way. That's what I would say. Like no other I've ever come across before. Because when sexuals write sexual books, they're coming from a place of all liking it, wanting it, needing it, and it being natural to them. When asexuals have or think about having sex, it comes from a completely different place, usually to please their partner the majority of the time, or because it's expected of them, and it's just something like we're doing, like we go to work. If we I mean, I work from home at the moment, but it's like if we go to work, we're doing it because we're doing what's expected of us, and kind of like we just need to get on with it. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't mean to say that some asexuals don't enjoy sex. Just obviously for a lot of asexuals, it's kind of like we're just doing something. Like we do something like take the rubbish out or watch TV. Do you know what I mean? I don't watch TV, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, in regards to a sexual being with an asexual person, I mean, my fear, if I personally with a sexual person being very sexual in behavior, yet having no sexual attraction, not wanting sex and being nudity or repulsed, is my fear is if I was with a sexual person for a long period of time, that they couldn't be with me without sex, because it's like I'm very sexual in some of my behavior. And even if a guy said he could be without sex, I think for a short time he could do it, but for a long time, I think he'd find it very difficult because of my, I'm very sensual, not just sexual in behavior. I'm very sensual, but don't forget a lot of sensual behavior. I have to get this like explained. A lot of sensual behavior to sexuals can be sexual. They don't see sensual as different to sexual a lot of the time. They'll see sensual as a sexual type of act. I think he would see it as a teasing, kind of like torture. Yeah, but that's not fair, is it? On me, because it's the way I am, because I know he said I think he would see it as a teasing, kind of like torture, yeah. But I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm just being me. So whatever guy gets with me will have to know that, But there was one guy I met on asexuality.org via message, and his asexuality was kind of like he wanted to be teased about sex but not actually have it. So some people actually get turned on and like that type of thing, the fact that they get teased about maybe having sex but never actually have it. Now I'm asexual, I don't want it. I don't need it and I don't want to have it. But so like Eddie says, like to a sexual person that might be like torture if I was with a sexual person, but the sexual person would have to know that being with me is what that is. It's like I'm sexual behavior without sexual attraction. And in terms of torture, I mean, it depends how he views it, isn't it? If it's going to be torture, then he shouldn't be with me. He should never be with me if he can't handle himself and doesn't feel comfortable. It's too much for him, and he needs too much. That's no good for anyone. It shows always being a loving, caring, happy relationship. But for me, I just naturally be myself. I naturally do sexy dancing. I'm naturally quite sexy sometimes. Thought I read a post about an asexual was grinding on her partner to completion but no sex. Thought I read a post about an asexual that was grinding on her partner to completion but no sex. I don't know if they were both ace or one was. Okay. Well, yeah, it depends where it's grinding with clothes on or not, doesn't it? I mean, I do grinding on the dance floor, but not to have sex. I do like dirty dancing. When you do dirty dancing, like in the when you do like dirty dancing in the film Dirty Dancing, the way they dance with basically like the guys, and women's like interlocking legs. Like and grinding, yeah, like I like doing grinding and dancing despite being asexual. I like that type of dancing with someone I'm really, 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 really aesthetically attracted to? I don't know. Dirty Dancing, never seen it. You've never seen the film Dirty Dancing, Eddie? Look at some pictures. Like on YouTube, sorry, look at some video footage. Like try and get the scene where they're actually doing the dancing. Seen Roadhouse, but not Dirty Dancing. Oh right, Dirty Dancing is one of my favourite films. And Grace. Like I love Dirty Dancing, even though it's a naughty dancing. But that's probably where I think it's where I get my, well, obviously it must be where I get it from because I didn't know about it before. But I actually like doing Dirty Dancing. But you know, like I'm very like I like if I'm in a relationship, I like being bodies intertwined with clothes on a bed, like fully, really, really close, but with clothes on, no sex. You know what I mean? So that's why asexuals are also very, very different. Like I'm kind of stuck in the middle because I'm totally asexual because I don't have any sexual attraction whatsoever, diddly what, but my behaviour is very sexual sometimes. I need lots of kissing, like tons of kissing, regularly. Like not making out. I don't want a guy's hand on my chest and all over like that. It's like, no, I'm not interested in that, which is what I understand to be making out. I like kissing, tongue kissing specifically, with a guy's hands around my back usually, or my, you know, or stroking neck, or stroking my hair, or stroking my arms, not this bit. It's like this bit's my bit. Go around this bit. You know what I mean? So that's why I feel so kind of like stuck in the middle, because it's like, you know, like I would be more suited to some sexual guys. But I tell you, you say it's torture. Actually, I'm a lot more passionate than some sexuals. Like a lot of sexuals, they're not very passionate. A lot of sexuals, a lot of them, they just want to get on with the sexual intercourse. That's not passion. That's just sex. Passion's, you know, a very different thing. I said I would stroke the tummy area, but not north or south. Yeah, you see, I don't like my tummy being stroked, but I know an asexual guy who really loves to stroke women's tummies. It's like his very, very big passion and kind of thing that he really, really loves to do. You know, so long as your partner's happy with their tummy being stroked, then I think that's fine. I don't personally like my tummy being stroked. I would like, you know, it's not something I'd usually like. I don't know if I could ever like that. Maybe if I was lying flat on a bed, it might be possible, but then I don't want to be naked. So it's like, I wouldn't really get to touch my tummy either. But, you know, so, but yeah, so, but, you know, like some people, you know, if you have a person like me who's like, not you personally have a person like me, I'm not on about you because you've got a girlfriend, I'm not interested like that, we're just friends, but I'm just like you as in general, you, whoever's watching this, you, then, you know, if you have a person who's very, very passionate, but without the sex, it can be much, much, much more thrilling and exciting experience than sex itself. You can do a lot with your clothes on, and you can have a lot more excitement and fun and passion. Like people that just have sex regularly, like normal, boring sex, it's just like, that's what it is, normal, boring sex. There's no passion there. And I'm not Indian. I am AO. Yeah. Well, I said you as in general you, not you, but I just want to clarify that. Yeah, Eddie, you're an old man with a beard. I can't stand beards. No offense. They're fine if you want a beard, but personally, in terms of like attraction, I'm not attracted to guys' beards. Shave all the time. I'm like, the guy can't get out a razor and shave it off. No. You shaved. Oh my gosh, Eddie, you shaved. Wow. Wow. I bet you're very different like that. Yeah. Have you are you going to keep it up? That's the thing. It's like there's a guy in my supermarket. Well, there's some guys in my supermarket, right? Because of the situation in the global situation with the big V at the moment. I don't want to mention the word. You know, they decided that they're growing long hair because they can't get to hairdressers. But knowing that, they're beards. They're growing them like Father Christmas, right? And it's like, come on, just because we're in this situation where we can't get out much to a hairdresser, you can still shave your beard off. Even the manager said something to me, which I don't really think he should be telling me because I'm a customer. He's going, look at the state of them. The beards and the hair on this too. But I mean, they work in the supermarket. They have access to razors and shaving foam and stuff, no doubt, because they work in the supermarket that sells this type of thing. So it's crazy they can't even bother to shave, right? I like a guy's beautiful, beautiful soft skin. I shave all the time myself on my arms and legs, you know, so the from my knee down. So that's, you know, I expect a guy to be able to do that. You know what I mean? It's really got it's top hot. Oh, you've got to. It's too hot. Oh, it's not for actual looks then. It's just for because you're too hot. So in the winter you'll grow it all back. But if your girlfriend prefers it shaved, I think you need to ask her, does she prefer it shaved? And if she prefers it shaved, I think you should keep it shaved. You know what I mean? I don't understand why guys like beards. It makes them so old. It's like, why do you want to have a beard? You look like 10 or 15 years younger with a beard shaved off. She wants it shaved. Yeah, so shave it. Be the man and shave it. Shave it, shave it, shave it. She might want to touch your face more then. Have you thought about that? It might aesthetically please her more. Aesthetic, you know, even aromantics can have some aesthetic attraction. So she wants it shaved. I think you should be the man she wants you to be and shave it and keep it shaved. Keep looking gorgeous for her. I think it's very important. You know, a guy who looks after himself, who cleans himself, make sure your fingernails are nicely clipped as well. You know, all this type of thing. It's very, very important, especially if you do stroke her tummy. I don't know if guys know this. I'll be putting this, but make sure your fingernails are clipped if you're doing, especially if anyone's doing any sexual acts, by the way. Fingernails should be clipped right down, you know, so that you don't have it sticking above the finger, because you don't want to scratch or hurt your person. And this can be very, very, you know, this can, you know, if you want to be kind, caring, sensitive to your partner, people should have fingernails. So if anyone's doing any sexual acts like masturbation, for example, or any type of kind of stroking of intimate areas particularly, you know, they should have shaved fingernails. Same if a woman's doing stuff to a bloke with his private parts, then, you know, she needs to make sure she hasn't got piercing fingernails, because that's the last thing a guy wants who, you know, is having sex or doing sexual acts, even if intercourse isn't wanted. You know, that's the last thing that guys want, is a woman's fingernails piercing him. Do you know what I mean? So all these things have to be thought about. You know, a lot of this stuff is going to be covered in my Asexual Guide to Sex book anyway. But it's very, very important to know this stuff. You know, and you know, like you know, like I like a guy to take care of himself. I like him shaving. I like him smelling nice. I like him having showers regularly. You know, wearing nice clothes. So I want to be around him, you know. It's you know, you should, you know, even if you're not having sex, an asexual person should still want to take care of their personal hygiene and personal appearance, you know. Because even if asexual is just like cuddling, you know, there's nothing worse than cuddling with someone who's not had a shower for a few days or couple of days even, maybe, you know, and someone who's like not even washed their hair, someone who's not even bothered to change their clothing so it looks dirty and that type of thing, you know. So all these have to be taken into consideration. All these things make any kind of intimacy, physical, particularly, a lot more better experience, you know. But yeah, if your girlfriend wants it shaved, they keep it shaved, you know. It's important that you have to do a lot to attract an asexual person if they're not very attracted in the first place, especially sexually. It's important to keep some attraction up. Do you know what I mean? Even if it's not sexual, it's very important. So yeah, I keep it shaved. Be the young person for her. You know? Like I don't like, you know, there's a guy on asexuality.com and he stopped talking to me because I told him I don't like guys with beards. I'm not attracted, you know, I'm not attracted to guys with beards. Because he seemed really interested in me at one point. Well, he hadn't messaged me for 11 months, so to be fair, he can't be very interested in me, can he? Right? But then he started messaging me again, and his asexuality seemed similar to mine. But then he's got a beard, but it's not that big in his photograph. But he said that he's got a really big, bushy beard at the moment. And it's like, do you know what I mean? Like, there might be a situation going on in the world, but you can still go to a supermarket, get some razors and some shaving foam. I bought new razors for myself today. Do you know what I mean? Yesterday now. Because she threatened me with her unshaved legs if I do not shave my face. Well, that's good, Eddie, but you shouldn't need to be threatened, should you? It's part of a guy's responsibility. Being a man is to keep nice looking for your partner all the time. Sustain it, maintain it, be persistent, you know? Anyone can end up getting with someone else. You have to remember this, despite them being asexual. That's why I say to asexuals, there's plenty of other people in the world, there's plenty of asexuals, and it's very difficult for an asexual person to be with a sexual person. Like, just as much as sexuals find it difficult to be with asexuals, sometimes it's very difficult, sometimes, not all the time, in some circumstances, it's very difficult for an asexual person to be with a sexual person. Because it's harder, isn't it? Because there's that threat of potential sexual intercourse there all the time, or threat of doing sexual acts that you don't want to do. You know, there's a blog post on my asexualized with an s.com site, and it's all about sacrifices that asexuals make for sexuals, which is a lot. You know, I've been in relationships with sexuals and I've dated sexuals since, and it is hard, you know. I have to totally trust that person not to do stuff to me that I don't want to do, you know. And you've got to understand that you should always, whoever's in a relationship, you should always, you know, try and look good, naturally good, not like try and force it and fake it, but naturally good for your partner as much as possible and put some effort into it, you know. Yeah, we got pure magic going on. So, you know, I think that's important. I think it's true that, you know, if she, you know, like, how would you like it if she's, because when you kiss or you're intimate or even cuddling, a guy's hairy face, beard, usually the bristles hurt a woman's face. Like my ex, when he used to wear a bit of stubble, which he didn't used to have very, very long, you know, it was stubble. It didn't have a full on beard ever. But it used to hurt my face when I was kissing. I used to get red rashes. I'm like, well, it's not a very nice kissing experience, is it? When you're trying to kiss someone. I did actually kiss someone with a beard for the first time last year. It was an Indian guy. I do tend to make exceptions in some cases for some Indian guys. But it wasn't too bad. I kind of forgot it was there after a while, kissing. But then he was kissing me for an hour, so I guess we had quite a bit of practice. Stubble bum, like sandpaper. Yeah, but I mean, obviously, even with a beard, it can be rough. It can be like a wire brush. So if a guy's got a beard, it can be like a wire brush. But yeah, this guy on asexuality.com stopped talking to me because I said I don't like guys with beards. You know, if he liked me that much, he could be just like, well, because he said he looks really young when he has no beard. And so that's why he doesn't like it. But I meet a lot of guys that say, oh, I look too young. It's like, I want a younger looking guy. I want a guy to look 10, 15 years younger if he's in, for example, his 30s. Do you know what I mean? Not 15 years younger, but 10 years younger. But I mean, if he's in his late 30s, then yes, I would like him to look 21 to 25, basically. Not too young. Because some guys just look too young who are in their early 20s and, like, you know, you still look like you're too young. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to, but I like young guys. So yeah, so I want to be 18 again, but have the knowledge I have now. Well, you just go and be 18 again. But I don't want to be 18 because if I'm 18, I attract 18-year-olds. So I think that's a bit, or younger. Because I'm 21 in my mindset. I attract guys already now. They're 18. I attracted, was it last year, a 17-year-old guy? He was nearly 18. But it's like, well, I think it's best not to really talk too much at the moment until you're 18, even though I am actually asexual. But I mean, the legal age for sex in the UK is 16. But I'm not interested in sex anyway. But I just think, like, talking to someone who's 17, who's interested in me romantically, is a bit like, you know, like, it's better to talk. So I didn't speak to them for a while because I thought it was better to wait till they're 18, you know, and then we weren't suitable anyway. They're too young for me. Do you know what I mean? I don't really want an 18-year-old. They would still look way too young. Like, you know what I mean? But you know, so I could choose to be 18 if I want to be, because I choose whatever age, mindset, lifestyle age I want. So I live like a teenager, actually. My bedroom's like a 15-year-old's. And my mindset's 21 years old, purposely. But I still have loads of experience and I love it. And so you can be really young. You can, like, age backwards by doing natural things, by putting yourself in the position of what age you want to be. So I do attract a lot of guys who are like 18, 19. Like the last Indian guy I danced with in the club, I think he was 19 years old. There was a guy who looked like he was 18 who looked British, actually. So yeah, I guess I do dance. I guess I do kind of, like, I'm just saying, like, not 18, and then I'm like, oh, the guy I danced with before, I think he was 18, and the last guy I danced with was 19. So maybe I do like get attracted to a bit younger guy than 21. But yeah, but you know what I mean? It's not like I don't see myself being in a relationship with that age group at all. And yeah, I would be like, I decide I don't want to be 18 in my mind, because if I was 18 in my mind, I'd be attracting way too young. That's off, not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in adults. That's what I'm saying. I'm interested in adults, not young adults, 20 plus usually. I'm not interested in younger. I sent a tweet out this week. I have an important announcement. I thought it was cute. Oh, that's really nice. Yes, public displays of affection and public displays of love are something that I think most people like, especially if it's a serious committed relationship. It shows a guy's devotion, it shows a guy's commitment, it shows a guy's adoration. I actually really love it. Like there's entrepreneur couple on Facebook. They got married last year. I'm friends with both of them. I've met one of them in real life, not just online. And she always used to be praising him all the time. She used to be praising him on social media, on Facebook, bigging him up, saying, this is my king, he's awesome, this is a soulmate, love of my life. And he hardly ever did it to her. And I was thinking, hang on a minute, it's all about him, all about her bigging him up and him being so amazing. What about her? And then, once he shared something about the love of his life, this is before they got married, actually, he shared something about the love of his life. And I'm like, I'm really glad to see a modern man actually like doing this. I think it should be done more, because I don't think it's good when guys don't. And after that, he started doing it more. And it was good. Now he puts about him being, her being his soulmate. And, he's so glad he's with her, so glad he married her, so glad they're now having a baby soon together. I'm not interested in babies, but it's good for them, And so, and so when a guy makes public displays of affection and declarations, it's very, very important, especially, public displays of affection as in social media. I like public displays of affection in real life. She sees it, doesn't respond, but I feel she likes them. She sees it, doesn't respond, but I feel she likes them. Oh, well, why don't you ask her how she feels about it? I'd ask her how she feels about it. I would. Because you're not going to know else. That's what I would ask her. How do you feel about it? But I mean, I personally love it when a guy does that. Because like, there's guys on Facebook and they're in partnership with their wife or their partner in their business as well, and I love it. Like a guy I'm connected to on Facebook, and he's 20, and his woman that he's going to marry in the future is 40. There's a 20-year age gap, and they run a business together, an online business. They are an amazing couple. They're a very beautiful couple. They're absolutely incredible. And he's publicly says, like, you shouldn't be having a partner for just a temporary solution to your life or something, or temporary fix, or just for temporary. It should be someone you intend to marry. I mean, I don't want marriage, but you know what I mean? I would like a guy to be that serious about me in terms of like, could commit to me for marriage, even though I don't want it. Do you know what I mean? Eddie, when I get to talk to her, I ask, okay. Yeah. Because I want a guy to be 100% committed to me without marriage, so I think it's very, very important. Yeah, I think, that's why I don't want to be with a guy who can't even be connected to me on social media, like Facebook. Like a lot of asexual guys that come to me, they're like in hiding about their asexuality, which is absolutely no good to me. A sexual guy is more willing to be public about my relationship. Not all sexuals, if they're doing naughty stuff like cheating and stuff. I had one heterosexual guy I dated, and he's like, oh, if you ever post a public picture of me and you, that's it, I'll not see you ever again. Obviously, we split up. He was a psycho in the end, a real psycho, but so we split up in the end anyway because of that. But like, it was a bit awkward because I'd already booked to go away with him and paid for my part of the trip in separate hotel rooms, so I still went, but he wasn't good on tour. It was very bad. Excuse me. So So yeah, but moving swiftly on from that, yeah. So but you know, like good guys who haven't got anything to hide, who are like really supportive and love their partner, they will be on Facebook as taking pictures together. They will be on social media. They will be verbally saying, "Excuse me," they love the person and stuff and care about the person, declaring their feelings and showing they're together and stuff. There's a lot of foreign guys that are actually married and they keep their wives a secret, but some of those people are literally like then go around messaging other people, women, for sex stuff or interested. I think it's disgusting, you know. I prefer a guy who, you know, if the guy's in a relationship with me, I want him to put it on Facebook that he's in a relationship with me, not that he's just like single still. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. But sexual guys seem to have no problem with me being public asexual. Probably, I don't know if it's because I don't believe I am. Then asexuals like, oh no, I don't want to come out about being asexual. I don't want people to know I'm asexual. No. So they can't be with me because obviously, like anyone who's with me, pretty much going to be public as well because my life's very public, you know. And it's only going to get more public as time goes on, and I will mention my partner if and when I ever have one on this channel because would be my partner, would be a huge part of my life. And if I share my own asexual life journey to help other people, then obviously I would be mentioning them. So I guess I could do with someone else who's like an entrepreneur, you know, thought leader, business person who doesn't mind, like who's happy that I'm doing work for asexuals and who sees that as a good thing. You know, maybe it's another YouTuber, but not necessarily a specifically asexual YouTuber. Maybe they have a gaming channel or something, or maybe they do something else that doesn't mind being in the public eye, you know. Or maybe it's just someone who just doesn't mind like being public when they're with me, but the rest of the time they're quiet. Do you know what I mean? Because they know the public side of my life, and they're like, oh, I'm fine to, you know, I'm happy to be included in anything that's relevant, like, you know, together on Facebook and that, but otherwise they're quiet. Eddie, my first gift to her was for Valentine's Day. I think it was this book I ordered from Love Book Online, and I made little characters based on her and it's filled with lovely words and scenes. Oh, that's really sweet. Oh, that's really sweet. That's really nice, Eddie. That's very, very romantic. Does she like it? Because I think she says thinks she might be coupé romantic. So desires a romantic relationship despite not experiencing any romantic attraction herself. Is that right? Has she explored that a bit more now? Because obviously that's a super romantic thing to do. Very, very super romantic, you know? Very super romantic. I think it's really, really nice. Really, really nice. She loved it. This is before she found out she was Arrow. Well, that's great. I mean, it doesn't obviously if she loved it, then she loved it. Yeah, I do have to say that a lot of aromantics that I come across, they are romantic without meaning to be. Like the thing, because I'm a romantic person, I might have to rephrase that. They're not romantic in and of themselves, as in they don't experience romantic attraction, but the things they do and say can be very romantic, just that they don't think of them as romantic. Do you know what I'm saying? So, for example, some aromantic asexuals can, for example, love having a candlelit dinner. Well, for me, who's really romantic, I would find that very, very romantic. But they'll just be like, I'm just hanging out with my partner. We're eating together. That's it. Do you know what I mean? Eddie, oh yeah, I know. Exactly. I'm glad you know. Like, I just think some aromantics can be so romantic. They can be more romantic than people who are meant to be romantic because they identify as romantic. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, like, but they just don't see it as romance. Like, if I was taking a moonlit stroll with an aromantic asexual, for example, then, you know, they would try just think, oh, it's nice scenery. I would be thinking this is so romantic. Oh, it's beautiful. Just look, and we're taking a walk under the sun, under the moon and the stars. It's so lovely. So yeah, it's just completely different thinking. But I mean, I saw Asexual mention on another channel that about kissing being sensual, not sexual. So they absolutely love kissing. And but and not being romantic. Sorry, they said it's not being. I mean, obviously, kissing can actually. I mean, kissing is a prequel to sex for a lot of sexuals, right? I just love kissing. But this person actually, sorry, they said not about it not being sexual. They said it wasn't romantic thing because they are aromantic asexual and they loved kissing lots. But they said it wasn't. It was sensual, not romantic, but it can be all three. It can be seen as sexual by some sexuals. Kissing can be because it's a prequel to sex for a lot of sexuals, and whatever the body's doing whilst it's kissing, that can be seen as sexual. Then it can be sensual because obviously it's a physical act and it's senses on the lips and in the mouth. And then it can be romantic because it can be a romantic gesture. So in actual fact, it could be any of the three things, really, depending on how you look at it and what orientation you are. I'd say it's sensual and romantic rather than sexual, but a lot of sexuals would think it's kissing sexual. I wouldn't trade her for anyone else. I adore her so much. Oh, that's good, Eddie. Yeah, it's good. And I do, I personally don't think I could be with an aromantic asexual because I think they wouldn't, overall. But if there was an aromantic, someone who lacked romantic attraction, but they were really romantic in their nature without even realizing it, and they loved kissing and doing all the things that I like to do, and they just, maybe they don't experience romantic attraction, but they still come across as romantic in nature to me. It's possible I could be with someone like that, but it depends on the rest of the things. Do you know what I mean? So I'm glad. Well, you two have been together for ages now. It's really, really important. Yeah. One day I'll meet my Indian soulmate. I mean, there's some Indian guys that have contacted me recently, but the last one, he actually contacted me through acebook.net. I'm like, yes, someone who's actually approached me, but of course he was in India again, and he's not out about being asexual. And he's like, I've got loads of issues. And it's like, I feel sorry for people who've got issues, but at the end of the day, I'm not having someone come into my life who lives miles away, who's met me through a dating site, clearly interested in me romantically, and then coming and saying, basically, can you help me with my issues? It's like, well, I'm not here in life to solve guys' issues for them. Do you know what I mean? Or people's issues. I do this channel to help a lot of people, though, but I can't do help everyone in the world with their issues on a one-to-one basis. There's only one of me, and I have to do, if I don't, for example, if I don't get the asexual book to sex out, just think of how many lives might be in trouble and not, lack of understanding. I need to get the Asexual Guide to Sex book out. It's like so important to me. It will be published this year. I've no doubt about that. Will be published definitely this year. I can't wait. But I have a duty to get that book out, to care for asexuals that are thinking about potentially doing that. It's very, very important. Some people don't realize how important the Asexual Guide to Sex book is. Other people do. The people taking part, they're really behind it. I'm so proud of them. Please, they're really behind it. Like, oh, I understand what you're doing. It's really good you're doing this. Because it's about time asexuals had their sex on sex. Had their sex on sex. Say on sex. I was going to say, not sex on sex. What am I saying? Sorry, asexuals. You don't want sex. Amen. It's about time asexuals have their say on sex. Thank you. So yeah, it's about time we had our own say, what it's really like for us, what we do and don't like, which some of us don't like it at all. So yeah, it's important. But I'm glad, Eddie, I think I'll meet my guy one day. He's just probably got to be an Indian guy who's like an entrepreneur who really doesn't mind, either he's openly asexual or doesn't mind people knowing he's asexual. Maybe he's not even asexual, but clearly he can live without sex and he just loves lots of kissing. You can get sex on sex on sex. I know I've been talking too much. We got racks and racks of sex for you all. Oh dear, yeah, I got a bit confused with my words. I need to go eat some food. I think I haven't ate much today, so I've been very busy. But yes, exactly. But yeah, so I think, like, like, I could possibly be with a sexual guy. Like, you have to understand as well, some guys who are heterosexual are penetration repulsed, in case you didn't know that. So you can get some sexual guys who actually don't want the penetration. They just want the other sexual acts and to do kissing and other things, not actual sex in and of itself. And so it's possible I could be with one of those type of sexual guys who actually really loved all the snog and other, but he probably want to do too much sexual act stuff, even though he didn't want to do penetration. And then I'll be like, well, it's too much for me. So I think it's very difficult when asexuals and sexuals are thinking about a relationship. But then it's difficult with asexuals because we're all so very different. Like, I love kissing for hours. There's not many asexuals that like doing that in my personal experience. They're not that interested in kissing. Some of them think it's gross. They want to pass the sick bucket. They absolutely hate kissing, especially the tongue. They're all right with a peck on the cheek, some of them, or a little tiny peck on the lips, but they don't want a full-on tongue in the mouth. They're like, oh, it's gross. Whereas I'm like, give me tongue, baby. Do you know what I mean? So, it can be just as hard trying to find someone who's asexual for you. If you're asexual, it can be very difficult because, like, I'm a kisser rather than a cuddler, which I think is very strange for a female. Personally, I'm much more into kissing than cuddling. It's like I want to kiss, but obviously cuddling a lot of the time goes with that, but not necessarily. Like, if I'm on top kissing a guy, I'm not really being cuddled, am I? Not really. But probably embraced some of the time rather than cuddled. But do you know what I mean? So I think so many different needs. But that's what I do love about the Asexual Guide to Sex, but you'll be able to see the differences in different perspectives of different types of asexuals. Those that like sex, those who don't, those that are having it, those who are not, those who never want it again in their life. You'll be able to see where they're all this in the book, you'll be able to see some relationships, how they work with sexuals. And there's someone who's got a girlfriend who's asexual and they're asexual as well, so that's very, very interesting story. And I'm just really looking forward to, like, getting the knowledge and experience of other people out there. They've worked incredibly hard on their personal stories to make them the best, woven into the answers. It's actually sometimes a lot more difficult to weave your own personal story into interview type questions than it is to just, like, blurt your whole story out. But I like structure to my books. I like people to be able to go through the book and say, well, if I want to know the answer to this question and I want to find like 20 different opinions, they can go to that particular question throughout all the same, all the interviewees, or part of them, because it's split into two parts. So some questions are given to everyone, and then other questions are only given to the people who have more experience, knowledge, who want to share more help, advice and guidance on how to have sex if you're asexual, basically. So yeah, anyway, I think I'm going to love you and leave you. I think I need to go and get some food. I'm quite hungry, and I think I've shared enough about our awesome Asexual Guide to Sex book. I can't wait. I'm really excited for it. I just love it so much. I can't stop raving about it because I just love writing. I just think the book's incredible. It's like such a good piece of artwork. Like, I like writing in terms of artwork and literature. I just think it's such a magnificent, as well as it being like for asexuals, I think in and of itself it's a magnificent piece of literature, even though it's written out in a interview style. I think it's incredible. Very, very, very incredible. And rave more. I will rave more, Eddie. I plan to do a lot of publicity with this book because I think it will appeal to many, 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 many people, including a lot of sexuals that are virgins that don't even know how to have sex. Because I have to say, in general, there is a lack of sex education still in the world. And these people are learning from porn videos and magazines completely, like, it's not in real life like that, So I think, like, the more people that buy the Asexual Guide to Sex, even the ones that aren't asexual, the more that we can actually educate people into being safer, having more loving, healthy relationships that are based on what two people want and need, not just one person, and much more understanding we can create as well between different sexualities. You know, that's what messed me up. Porn. Ah, Eddie, yeah. I've never watched porn. I hate porn. Don't like the idea of it. But it's nice that you admit that, you know. You've got to stop any addictions. Like, I have been off mingle2.com, which isn't an asexual dating site, but it can get very addictive since May the 14th. And now it's June the 5th. So I'm on a detoxification. I'm trying not to get too pedantic about dating. I still have some guys interested in me, but mostly it's been them interested in like communicating with me. Most of the time. But I have approached a little bit. There was one guy I approached, but I mostly approached them for another friend because I think they're better suited to them than me. So that was, even though they're foreign and in the UK actually. So that was interesting. But I think they get on better with my friend because they got far more in common with them. And if they were having that type of relationship that they would be interested in, they would be interested in them. And I did approach one other guy, and he was asexual guy, but he doesn't like kissing. He's not even sure if he wants a relationship, but doesn't like kissing. Yeah, so so I think, you know, like with any addiction, you've got to get off it. And then porn, I've never watched it. I never see the appeal. I don't like naked bodies, do I? I don't see the appeal with naked bodies whatsoever. I've never done. Like, there was loads of women that used to rave about guys' muscles. So I don't like muscles. I've never ever liked muscles. I remember when I was 15 years old and I worked as a waitress, which not many people know about. And there was these two girls and they were going on about the Chippendales. The Chippendales is like a really, like, well, it's basically a male striptease act. And I'm like, what on earth is the appeal? I just don't get it. I never understood it. I've never liked guys with muscles. It's a real turn off for me. I'll repeat that again in case anyone's watching who's skinny, thin, and athletic and who worries about their body and the fact they're not muscly. I have never, ever, 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 ever been attracted to muscly guys. Right? I'm not saying that there's one guy I dated who was Bangladesh who had some muscle on him, but I prefer it if he didn't, really, because I'm not into muscly guys. Apart from I do have big muscles myself, arm muscles. I have really big arm muscles. Look at that. They're getting bigger. I like having big muscles. You thought, what are those tumours, muscles on that man's bodies? I didn't think that, but I thought they look like an armadillo. They're like ridges. I'm like, how can I cuddle? Because I do actually like cuddling, despite the fact I'm very into kissing. And when I picture myself in bed with an asexual Indian guy with my clothes on, I picture me cuddling him, actually, rather than kissing him, which is a bit weird, and talking to him and holding hands and looking into his eyes, and he talks to me up website coding. Because I have this thing where I really, really, really get attracted more and more to a guy who's Indian, particularly, and who talks about code. It's like, I built a website today with Python, Sandra. I'm like, oh man. Oh, I got a thumbs up for that. Hello. There's probably an Indian guy watching. Hello, beautiful Indian guy. Love you lots. I don't know who you are, but I love you lots anyway. You know, I actually picture me holding his hands and he's talking about Python. You know, like Eddie, you'll probably know the song that says "Talk dirty to me, baby," right? Like, talk dirty to me, and I like talk code to me, talk Python to me. And I won't make any jokes about Python because I know I could make a very rude joke that's not asexual, so I won't. I'll refrain from doing that. But yeah, I just see him like talking to me, his eyes light up, his face man, and we're holding hands, and I'm just like looking at him, mesmerized by his beautiful brown chestnut hair and his gorgeous eyes. Damn, my joke is ruined. So yeah, yes, I thought I'd get in there before you said about the Python joke. I knew you were going to say something about that. See, I have very naughty thoughts sometimes, but I am asexual. That's another thing that's quite shocking. I sometimes have some naughty thoughts, but some asexuals do. But yeah, so with a guy who has muscles, he just looks like an armadillo to me. It's like, how can I cuddle that? It's not soft and squidgy. I like boy next door type of looks, you know, like the guy who's clean shaven, got short dark hair, skinny, you know, like thin, athletic looking. I'm not skinny myself. I just like, how can I cuddle this statue? Yeah, it's a bit like that, Eddie. How can I cuddle this statue? It's like made of stone. You know, honestly, I honestly, I think they look ugly a lot, especially someone who's really muscly. I don't mind if they've got a little bit of muscle on their arm. I could stand, like, you watch, I'll end up with an Indian guy who works out every blooming day, and I'll be like, oh my God, he goes to the gym every day. What am I going to do? I mean, I do like a guy to keep fit, but I prefer a guy who goes running, really, or walking. You know, like a lot of athletic guys, they go running, don't they? And chill out to music or whatever, and they do running on their own. I like that type of thing, you know. I prefer, and a lot of the guys that go to the gym, I mean, they're just eyeing up other women. Let's be honest about this now. Let's be very perfectly honest. They do not just go to the gym to work out. They go to work out the woman, usually. If they're a guy into guys. If they're a guy into guys, if they're a guy into girls. Oh my God. This is what happens when I don't eat, because I was thinking about some of my guy friends are into guys. So if they're a guy into guys, they'll be checking out the guys. And if they're a guy into women, they'll be checking out the women. If I'm talking about guys, because obviously it could be women. But not a massive bodybuilder build. Like Hercules body. Oh, I like actually the film Hercules, and I like the song from Hercules. But no, I'm not into like that type of thing, you know? I like a guy who's like really clean shaven, short dark hair. I like a guy who's either got short spiky hair or obviously Indian type of what can I say? You know, the brown hair, the chestnut, you can just run your fingers through and then go like that to his nose and give him a little kiss. I do like kissing other parts of the face, not just the mouth, like his nose. I like giving him a little kiss there, give him a little kiss on the cheeks. Give him a kiss on the forehead. Stroke his hair. Oh man, I want to be with my Indian guy now, wherever he is. He should get his heck over here. Indian 80s hair. No, you know, like Bollywood movies, which are still happening. New ones still coming out. No, you know, Van. Like the guy off Street Dancer 3D. Oh, he's so good looking. And that is an 80s hair. That is like, Van, is that his name? You know what I'm like when I'm not feeling great? I'm like, Turan, not Van. Why did I say Van? V-A-N. Oh, it's Turan. T-U-R-A-N. Turan. Oh, my Lord. When I don't eat for a while, this is what happens. My brain just completely goes to like off the charts, which is not very good to carry on the stream, really, because I could end up saying lots of silly things. Why did I call him Van? Van's not, I don't even think Van's an Indian name, is it? It's like more like a German name. Go eat your messing up here, Rambler. Yeah. So, yeah, but it can come out quite funny as well. But yes, anyway, I like Varun of Street Dancer 3D, and I did do a Street Dancer 3D review. But yes, I'm going to go because I think that's enough laughs about me messing up for tonight. And yes, I'm just really looking forward to the Asexual Guide to Sex book to come out, and breaking conventions, stereotypes, and getting people to really understand that asexuality is a real thing. And that we don't experience sexual attraction in broad terms, but we're all different. Anyway, thank you, Eddie, so much for taking part. Thanks to everyone else that's been in chat earlier. And I need to go and eat. And don't forget, if you do suffer low blood sugar like me, make sure you eat as much as possible. It's very important because you end up talking weird, crazy stuff. Unless you're deciding to do weird, crazy videos, it's probably best you eat. Anyway, until next time, embrace your quirky and each other. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to check out my asexual first book, Asexual Perspectives, go to the link down below and go and buy a copy of this book. It does actually do a really good introduction to asexuality in conjunction with sex in this book. So if you're going to get the Asexual Guide to Sex, you may as well read this anyway. And yeah, go and get that book. It's in the description. Go through the link, and I'll see you on the next video live stream. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. And I will see you soon. Bye, Eddie. Thank you for taking part. Bye, everyone.